Would the Piplup line make good service Pokemon? This one was definitely a hard research because, well, for most of the criteria that we search for good service Pokemon, Piplup kind of bucks against it. Now, that's not to say that Piplup can't be useful. In fact, I think I found a couple good uses, but it definitely was tricky to find out. You may notice right off the bat that Piplup has next to no dexterity, so basically anything involving assistance, moving things, picking things up is just about out of the question. On top of that, Piplup is pretty small, so having it as a ride Pokemon might not be as useful either. Piplup is an extremely fast swimmer Pokemon, so perhaps there might be some usefulness in there. However, the Piplup line does have one really useful set of skills that most of the other water types don't seem to possess. Being based off of a penguin, Piplup is incredibly resistant to cold weather and cold water. Now, typically I try to find ways for these Pokemon to be useful as individual service Pokemon. However, as I kept researching from Piplup into Primplup, I realized that most of the results were still the same. Sure, Piplup does get a little bit bigger, it's still a very fast swimming Pokemon, still has its cold resistance, but it still has no dexterity. All that happens is that its flippers just get a little bit larger. However, as it evolves, it does start to get access to more powerful moves and eventually the steel typing. Now, being a service Pokemon isn't just exclusive to helping people with disabilities. Sometimes you need to be ready and able to help people who need help in any situation. And Empoleon is an excellent example of that. It's much larger than both Piplup and Primplup, while still being roughly the same size as a person. Their swimming speed is incredible, and now that they have mastery over the steel typing, not only are they swimming incredibly powerful, but they can pretty much cut through anything in their way. If you're someone who has a lot of time out on ships and in the water, Empoleon is definitely a go-to partner Pokemon. And I might even make the argument that Empoleon is the best water-based service Pokemon for anybody with disabilities who needs to be around the water. And that's mainly due to their kind and friendly personalities. Because at the end of the day, you can have all the skills to be as helpful as you want, but if your personality is really bad, then you might be doing more harm than good. Despite the fact that this was a bit more unconventional, I still believe that the Piplup line has a lot of use. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below if there are any skills that the Piplup line has that would make them an excellent service Pokemon that maybe I just don't know about. Please, it always helps me learn a little bit more, and it helps these topics become way more valuable for people who need it. But with all that being said, I believe this answers the question,